Welcome back everyone to Pinetopia, and today we are going to begin on the temple that we are going to have near the village. This is going to be an agricultural temple, though there are going to be some tweaks to it that are going to bring it in line with the arthropod theme, which since the theme of the update was bees, it's not much of a stretch to bring bees into an agricultural type setting. Now, the question is where's the best place to put it? And I was thinking that the only real good place is this field right here, because the temple grounds are going to be 32 by 32. This is approximately the size that we have in the module, so I'm going to keep that in line. The module does oh my goodness gracious, I'm going to have to make sure I get no unwanted interruptions from this place, like from said creeper. Whee! There we go. Take care of the creeper. Nice and calmly. Don't panic. Ah! Hmm. Well, there's some granite here. Now, one of the things I need to figure out is what to build the wall and temple out of. The outer walls of the temple the outer walls of the temple as well as the wall. Ah! Hmm. The outer temple as well as the wall are specified to be made out of granite, but I'm not too sure that you would make a agricultural temple wall. If this were a fire temple, yes, use red granite. That would be perfect. But I have a feeling that they were thinking of a different color, granite, when they were doing it, because granite does come in several colors, including the red color that you get in Minecraft. And I'm thinking that an agricultural temple will very definitely not be designed to be in red. That sounds like maybe something for a fire temple or something like that, but agricultural? I suppose that if it were a brownish red that looked like it could be clay or soil or something like that, yes, that would be reasonable. But here we're talking about this granite type surface on theirs and not a very brownish red, so nah, I would think that that will not quite work for what we were doing. So that leaves, now we could use diorite, but I prefer to use diorite for flooring, and that would do there. So I would think that a grayish granite, perhaps. Now, the closest thing I could think to a grayish granite would be an andesite. So perhaps an andesite may be a better one. It might be a bit lighter than what they intended, but I'm going to go with that. But of course, that means collecting a huge amount of andesite if I want to do this. I'll have to probably supplement it with some other gray type stones, which is another advantage of gray, is that there are other types of grays that you could have. Maybe some places we could have stone brick or something like that to have the nice stony feel that they're intending. The area below here is riddled with tunnels. We have the one that I found here, and during my initial exploration, I found a couple others, such as this one, which has an exit out to another direction, I think, and one or two others. So, real nasty places that we had all over the place, but we've managed to light all the ones I've found so far, and I'm sure I could find one or two. And maybe I could even find one that's interesting that could add to the underground section from the temple itself. Now, let's find a good location here. Now, the original module has it as the entire grounds as being 100 feet by 100 feet. I'm approximating 10 feet to be equal to 3 meters because when you're doing Minecraft, that is a pretty good conversion to use. You don't want to be saddled by all these exact numbers on there. So I'm going to make it 32 by 32 because that'll make it 2 chunks by 2 chunks, which I think is a nice area. Now I'm going to find some chunk boundaries and see if I could go with them or I'll just have to do a lot of counting. Now, here is the nearest area that can potentially work. We have it going from here all the way down to there, down to there. The midpoints are the spaces between the chunks that are contained with there and to there. So this gives us all of our locations that we have. I suppose we will have a midpoint right around here would be the midpoint, right where we have this thing going underground. So we'll have to deal with this underground area a little bit, but that's probably not going to be too much of a problem considering that they're going to be wanting a little bit of an underground area for the secret cellars that they're going to have. So, yes, just that we have this little natural cave here is I think I could make it work with what we're doing. All right, good. I think we have our temple grounds because the other choice, if we wanted to maintain a chunk boundary rather than an arbitrary boundary, would be pushing it way back here, and that feels distance. Actually, I think this might be closer to the actual distance in the village in the module, but the village in the module is a bit larger, and when we account for the compressed scales that you have in Minecraft compared to the real world, I think that this would work a whole lot better. It might be a bit close to the village from the point of view of mob spawning at night, so I will have to remember to go to sleep though. At first, I was wondering what I was going to do about the elevation changes here. Should I raise everything to the level of this, or should I take all of that down to this level? But for now, I'm going to just leave the elevation change here in because I think that might actually work better. So what I want to do now then is to place torches around here alternating. I thought I had some extra torches here. Obviously, I've been using them quite a bit since I did a count where I had a huge number of them. I'm going to be putting them to go all the way through the outside of here mark the to mark the outer areas, and once that's done, then I could start planning exactly what to do with the wall, because based on what they say in here, we have a 20-foot granite wall, which, as I said before, I'm most likely going to use some sort of variation of stone, most likely andesite, and use that. Maybe vary it a little bit with red granite there so that it looks a little bit more interesting, because we're talking about a 6-meter tall wall going around this huge area here. That's going to be a lot of building, which is why I'm starting it out with this torch fence here, so that I could actually do most of the building of the wall between episodes, because that is certainly going to be the most slow thing. Now, I have built large walls before because there was oh, that went. Did I just go beyond? Yeah, I just went beyond there. There was last season where I built that wall around the village. So this wall, I'm not sure what the purpose of a 20-foot wall is around the temple grounds. I guess to keep out monsters and the like. We are talking about a world of D&D where things like that can happen. So I'm guessing that was the purpose of the original wall. So let's go and do that. And we have that going all around there. But there are the gates, which I believe are going to be right here. And that these gates are going to be open during the daytime, and the residents of the village can come in and visit the temple and the courtyard and all that all during the day. And based on how this golem wanders around and how these villagers wander around, I have a feeling some of these villagers are actually going to take advantage of that openness. So I do have to make sure that nothing is nasty with those caves or anything like that. Actually, I'm wondering if that golem's going to start searching the caves. Another matter that is very clear in the module is that this temple is surrounded by trees. So there are trees going outside all around it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to be planting trees there. Now I'm going to be using oaks. I think that will be our best bet there. Though they don't name what type of trees they are. Perhaps they could be birches also. I'll decide whether I'm going to use birches or oaks or anything like this. I think those would be the most appropriate ones since that's what's natural to this particular area. And that they will be surrounding it all over the place. Now the trees seem to be spaced about 6 to 10 blocks between each of them. I'll probably space them a little bit closer for Minecraft purposes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, how about making it 6? We have this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll have them going around 6 all over here. And you see the corner will go like this, and see how that works. Now, it will be a better feel when they actually grow so that we could see how well they all fit in together, because we want the temple to be visible. We don't want to obscure it or anything like that. Now, we do have to do something special here since this is the entrance to the place. But then we'll be having a road going out of here into the village, or more likely a path. And this path will, of course, be also lined with trees. So that'll be our general landscaping for the area. Didn't I before say something about the golem? What are the chances of him going down into the caves? Well, it appears that the chances of this are increasing by the minute. And I really should bring some fish. Look at this, I got cats spawning all over the place. I could probably tame a couple of them and make this place, well, I doubt I could make it creeper proof, but creeper resistant. The next step is to cordon off the middle area where I'm actually going to be placing the temple, and I'm going to be starting this measuring process by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is either where I want to put it or a little bit away. Actually, that's way off. Yeah, because this is way too small in there. Did I miscompute the size of all of this? And this, my friends, is why you measure twice and cut once. And that is because, of course, we have double scaling on the outdoor map. It's not 32 by 32. It's 64 by 64. 10 by 10 squares on the map, which is, yes, 64 blocks by 64 blocks. This temple is an entire acre. Oh, wow. That means I'm going to have to double this. Now, it looks like I can get out to 64 here without too much trouble. Good. And out to here. That gives a nice little water side here, so I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. And going back down to here, I think it's nice enough. So we do have the space, and I think that was my main concern here. I just now need to widen out everything here. Is this one of those places I've been before? Nope, it isn't. So I just have to make this place a little bit more pine proof. And once I do that, I can then expand the area where I'll be going. This little build just got very not little. We have the first side going right down to this little hill right here. So I'm just clipping this. I have to decide what I'm going to do about this. I don't want to make it easy for someone to climb up it, so I may have to terraform that hill a little bit to make that a little bit more difficult. And then we go along here down this way up to this corner here where we have this tree that I'll obviously have to take down. Then we go all the way down here. Boy. And then finally back here where I'm going to run to this bed to get a little nap. Well, I was coming through here, I was thinking that this tree is in a rather annoying position, and it only just occurred to me, this is one of the trees that I planted, thinking that this was where, because we had this tree that I planted over here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away, and then I also planted one over here, which I thought at the time was going to be the side there, but obviously it's no longer the side, and I presume that this is also another one of those that I planted. So I'll just take these down, collect their saplings, and move them. Probably not do another set of planting until I'm all sure of where I am. That was what I did before, was just give an idea of what I was planting anyway, that I will be planting trees all the way around there at some point. With the updated outline, I remeasured going inwards, and now the outline of the building itself seems to line up properly. I go this way, and then when I held this way, this is one of those chunk boundaries right there. Heading out right over here, and finally over here. This is our edge to our building right here. So this is the next corner of the building. Then going up over here, another chunk boundary. And we have a corner boundary. There's actually a chunk boundary right here, but I removed it to so I wouldn't have so many torches over here. And then finally, we head over here for the final corner. Now, we do have a few things that are probably going to need to be filled in. I have to decide which places to fill in and which ones I would like to do something special with. Like, for example, this one right here. We have here a wall of the building coming here, and this can easily be filled in because there's really nothing here. But we have a nice little cave system here, so perhaps I can have a little outbuilding right over here that will lead down into this, so I won't have to fill in the entire cave, and I might be able to use that as a mine or something like that. But this means I'm going to have to do a great deal of digging. But what I'm going to do first is to create a foundation. You know how I like to have a little foundation by building, and especially for this one, because once I have a foundation, I'll know what the outline looks like. I could jiggle it around to make sure that everything's right, because if I do have a major mistake, it's better to find it out now, just when I'm at the outline, than after I built 65-foot high walls or something like that. Fortunately, the walls aren't going to be 60 feet high, but you get the idea on that. So I'm just going to go all around here, get a foundation, decide, am I going to level this hill, or am I going to probably best not to level it. Instead, I am going to make this the top of this and then just make this a double layer on the foundation there. So you need steps to get up here. This right here is a chunk boundary. This is the central chunk, I believe. And as this is the central chunk, then this is where we're going to have the main entrance to the temple. So I am going to have to make sure that things are really nice and neat from the point of view of whoever is entering it. We have to have a nice entrance here. So yes, this is going to be like that. So I'm going to have a cobble foundation, and the main reason for the cobble foundation has nothing to do with anything said in the module. It has to do with the simple need that cobblestone is plentiful, and things like andesite and granite and stuff like that is hard to get. It appears we already have a villager who is a mason. Oh, that's why he's interested in all of this. He's looking over to see if he could be hired for any of the stonework. That's what I'm thinking about. He's assessing our stonework and wondering if he'll be able to sell us any services here. I have to keep that into account. One other matter is that because either the mason or the leather worker was constantly stealing our bed, I decided to move the bed way over to the opposite diagonal, which I'm hoping will mean that the villagers then will sleep on their own beds within the village. But I do have the entire outline, not the entire outline, at least the outside of the outline complete. So now I know where everything is going to be. This is going to have to be a secret passage under somewhere. And all the way around here and over here, I've already started filling in this area. And I'm going to have to turn this into an outbuilding cellar there. Now I need to get the interior outlines. And now I'm on a new scale here. For the interior, I'm at 3 per square on is how it's shown on the map there. And the entrance area is 2 squares by 2 squares. Now, what I have to take into account here, though, is that we're going to have the walls there, because the walls are obviously just shown as thin lines on the map, so I have to make sure of that. So I'm going to have to make this 4 wide, because we've got 3 per square, so it's 2 squares wide here. This would be the center 1, 2, so I will have a wall here. And what I have to decide on each one is where to make the walls. Sort of a judgment on where do I want to steal that extra foot from, the extra wall depth from. And here we go. So I'm going to do it this way. This could be our... If I say it's 3 wide and I'm stealing one, then make it 3 wide before I steal the one. Right. There you go. I think that would be wide enough, and we come in here because we're going to need the room here for the various rooms that are going to be on the side. And this is going to open up into our grand foyer right over here, and into the main sanctuary, which is what this section is going to be. Now, let's try to compute all this, see if I get this outline here, and if I like the layout. In checking out this corner here, I realized that this little pit right here is right where my map indicates there is a secret entrance into the cellar. Sometimes these things work out just right. Sometimes they work out the worst way in the world, but in this case it worked out just right. And here is the completed outline. We have spaces designated for the outer rooms. Back here, this is where we'll have the stairway that is going to be going to the upper level. Here are the meditation cubicles that we have. Now down here, we have the secret entrance into the areas below for the little dungeon level that we have. Here I'll be placing some alcoves of various agricultural goods. And of course, the sanctuary, which is going to be right over here. Now I just need to figure out how to decorate, because we certainly don't want a huge, big sanctuary here with nothing in it. But in reading the module, I found out that we're supposed to have a mosaic pattern on the floor here of various colors, and that probably means you need either concrete or terracotta. Now, since this is an agricultural temple, I would think terracotta would make a whole lot more sense. But of course, that means either finding a huge amount of clay or of finding some badlands. So between episodes, I am going to be searching for that. And I believe I'm out of time. So when we return next time, we are going to see if we could make the sanctuary floor and to define our layout there. And that'll be in the next episode of Pineleaf Plays Minecraft Pinetopia.